Hello and welcome back to another video here on the channel. In this video we're going to talk about Rick and Machonne's jumping out of a helicopter in episode 3 and how they survived. Let's get into it. Okay guys, so we're going to talk about that final scene where Rick and Machonne, well, Rick doesn't jump. He gets, Machonne opens the door, grabs Rick, and they jump out. She jumps out of the helicopter, dragging him with. Now, sure, the moment was shocking, but it was also, in a lot of ways kind of silly because there's no way they could survive that unless one of them had a parachute. I mean, that's what I was thinking. One of them had to have a parachute. But it turns out I was wrong. I found an article in Entertainment Weekly that says they actually survived the fall a little bit different, but we're going to get into that in a little bit later in the video. But first, we're going to talk about how they actually got to that point. So, Thorne gets promoted. She makes a decision to send Rick to the Cascadia fob, or the base that they set up. They decide that Machonne, known as Dana to Thorne, needs to go because she wants Rick to keep an eye on her. And Rick understands this is the only way to keep Machonne alive because they know she's really an A. So anyway, they go into a mission. Machonne disobeys an order, and that causes Thorne, a grown woman with a big gun, getting her fifis hurt, to decide that she's going to kill Machonne. So she pulls her gun, and Rick sees it and steps in and saves Machonne, but he knows that Machonne is in trouble. And then later, Thorne tells him to take her back to the base. She doesn't want to see him anymore. She doesn't want to see Machonne anymore. So Rick knows that he has to follow those orders because she's his commander. I guess that commander's the right word. I don't know what term to use in this situation, but Rick tries to do a very convincing job of breaking up with Machonne that is terrible. It's kind of like, you have a dog and you want to keep it, but you're not allowed, so you have to try to make it leave. You're like, go on, I don't want you, you silly thing, that kind of thing. And Machonne doesn't buy it. And during the flight, in the last scene of the episode, Machonne is talking to Judith in her head, and she says they may not make it home. She leans up, she unbuckles her seatbelt, leans up, opens the door, grabs Rick, and they just tumble out the door. And you just assume that either, one, they're not flying very high, or Rick has a parachute, Machonne knows that, or Machonne has a parachute. But we don't really know how they survive. It's just kind of one of those, whoa, what just happened moments. But now we actually do know what happens because I found an article in Entertainment Weekly, and it says how they make it. Guerrero, who plays Machonne, says it's a snap decision that was about snapping Rick out of his funk. He's getting stymied by this place and the institution, and I have to get him out of here. Plus, both characters have been known to take drastic action in the past. They both have a crazy switch. You've seen it in both of them in various ways. You can think about how she fought the governor. You can think about how he bit a guy's neck out. They have a crazy switch, and when it comes to when they're pushed against the wall, it comes when they're taking care of their own. It comes in that moment where they need to make a breakthrough for their family or themselves. This is that moment where she's like, this is the way it's going to go down. And she sees an opportunity, and the crazy switch is turned. She does calculate the odds, says Guerrero, of what may seem to be certain death, but she sees there's water below them. There's nothing else she can do. She also gives credit for the idea to co-creator Scott M. Gimple. That was definitely Gimple's idea. I thought it was very, very smart ending. So I'm guessing there's like a lake below them. I mean, you do see Machonne looking out the window. So she does see the water, and she just decides to flip the old crazy switch, apparently. But, it's still a crazy ending, and it's a really risky thing because, you could, falling from from so high, it'd be like hitting concrete. Hitting water would be like hitting concrete. Now, we don't know how high they're flying, and I really don't know that. Maybe we'll see them jump. Maybe we'll see like an outside shot of the helicopter where they fall out. I don't know. Maybe it's one of those things we're never really going to know. Maybe this episode will start with them crawling out of the lake, and it'll just be kind of one of those silly things that we never really quite figure out. But we know in our heads that it just doesn't make sense. I don't know. But guys, what do you think? Do you think this is just completely bonkers and it's kind of one of those Walking Dead things? There's been other things like that just didn't make any sense. You just have to go with it. But how do you think about it? Do you think it, or do you just say, you know what? It's TV. It's not real. It's fantasy. Just enjoy it and go along for the ride and don't think too much about it. Leave your thoughts in the comments. I love reading what you guys say. I don't mean just the praise about the videos. I mean, I really like to hear what you think, about the situations and, that we find our characters in and, what you think could happen, what you think, your theories and all those good things. Before you go, I am going to ask if you got any value out of the video, and you don't want to miss any more of my content, please consider subbing and helping out the channel. And guys, I will see you in the next video.